Hey, what is going on out there on the Gauche? Hey everybody, sorry I ran a little late today for the lunch rush, but some huge news dropped today with Adventures with Purpose. They have dropped the video for their investigation into the Kiely Rodni case. Very huge news, lots to unpack. But I just want to first, of course, welcome everybody to the channel. We'll be talking about that today. Won't have a very long stream, but long enough to at least have a discussion about it. We'll probably have a couple people on live. So open live calls may be at minimal at this point. But of course, stay tuned. We'll always have our Friday night Midnight Madness, so don't forget. We'll always have that open discussion, usually all the time. And followed by that Saturday lunch rush, so all of you guys that missed out can join in. So let's go ahead and kick things off. I would like to go ahead and, well, we'll go ahead and do this, the whole usual. Let me try that again. The whole usual. Like, subscribe, and notification. Don't forget to select those buttons to help this channel grow. It's an algorithm thing. Appreciate everything you guys do for this channel and the community. I just want to kind of also give a quick shout out for another donation I actually missed a few days back that helped out with the channel. I'd like to give a little special kudos to Miss Wendy Davis.
Excellent! Excellent!
Yeah, thank you so much, Wendy, for your donation of $5. Appreciate that through PayPal. So again, the link has been posted in the chat for the link tree. So anybody wants to, anybody that wants to be involved with the community, donate, you can do that through the link tree as well. We primarily do Cash App, PayPal, and also Patreon if you wish to go that route. We also have our amazing friends too, Temp and Paige. We have their community link as well on that link tree, so please tune into them as well. We are a linked family. We love each other, so we'll continue to grow. So let's go ahead and kick things off, and we'll just do that right after this. All right, so let's go ahead and get this party started. Honestly, I'm going to just say it's just not quite a party. So it's really kind of emotional. I had to process this video a couple times, and coming from a fresh emotional weekend right after that Britney Spears audio release of her thing about her conservatorship, man, this is kind of like a piggyback to an emotional roller coaster that we already have experienced over the weekend. To kick it off, really, and I can't redistribute obviously this video, it's in their members only section, so FYI. So I'll throw out a couple of snapshots through here as far as what we've uncovered so far, and I am going to play a couple of things here as far as the nature of the information we're going to be talking about. First of all, it's going to be a speculation warning, so there is some content that we'll be talking about on here that's somewhat speculative. It's really based on what was already discovered with Adventures with Purpose. So there may be a couple of things mentioned here that I will say let's be careful with. Let's use our hearts, but also keep in mind that govern your emotions. It can get carried away if we don't keep those in check. So obviously, investigators have to do that. They can't lead with emotion. So I'm just going to say that ahead of time because this can be emotional. So, caution. I'll just say that. One other thing I do want to mention is it could be also graphic in nature. Not just the language. I wouldn't say the language as much as it is the graphic part of it. So there will be some pictures here that could be a little disturbing for some. So be careful about what you're about to view. Just know that we will be uncovering some material that is a little bit graphic in nature. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to talk about some of that information as of right now. So let me go ahead and start off with the pointers that I've reviewed, and then I'm going to talk about them. I kind of wrote down a little bit of a bullet point here as far as what I've uncovered with the interview that took place within the AWP disclosure with a roadside assistance employee. I'm going to start there. So this roadside assistance employee indicated the possibility of and puts together a description of an individual that was with Kiely during a breakdown of the vehicle, potentially either Friday night or Saturday. He could not give a specific designated time frame as to when this took place, when Kiely her car broke down. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to throw up on my screen here the Google map. Oops. Turn down the music a little bit. So over here, what you're looking at is just north of Lake Boca. Now, I'm going to zoom out just a sec to kind of give you a perspective of what it is we are looking at. Okay. So first of all, I want to point out right here in this area is where the party took place that was so controversial. This, of course, was Prosser Lake Reservoir. Now, where the roadside assistance employee came into play was he received a call north of Lake Boca, which was right here by Boca, the Boca Rest campground. I'm going to zoom in a little bit right here. Whoops, there we go. So they pointed out, this employee pointed out that the vehicle, Kiely's vehicle, was right in this area, pulled aside, facing south, going southbound on this road. That road was Stampede Meadows Road. So I switched to course here real quick. Hold on a second. So Google Earth versus the maps of Google has different information. So where I'm on maps right now, it actually has the street names. Zooming in on the maps version here, same thing, right? Okay, so the car was parked right here, broke down. The roadside assistance employee comes to help them. States they parked in front of their vehicle. So he has a positive ID on these two individuals. Also, he states that he has facial recognition cameras on both the front and the back of the wrecker or the vehicle that they pull or they drive for their own safety. So he makes a facial recognition to these two, but he doesn't know them, right? At this point in the game, he did not actually know who these people were prior to the release of this case, or, you know, the missing persons case of Kiely Rodni. So, but what he stated he observed was a description of two individuals. One, he described Kiely, obviously, in the vehicle. He made a positive ID about that. But she was in distress. And she was also with an individual, a guy, didn't give out any names, but gave a description with a ball cap, kind of long, a little wavy brown hair up almost close to the shoulder, outside the cap. And further, now this is where the speculation comes into play. Obviously, we know this matches a description of Kiely's supposed boyfriend, Jagger Whitfield. So now I can't tell you whether or not this took place the night leading up to the party, or if it was just after the party, or if it was the next morning. He could not specify a time, this employee with AWP, but he did state on his GPS history that he was in specifically the Boca region on Saturday and on Sunday. So if indeed this takes place on Saturday, this raises some questions because the party took place Friday night on the 5th. So if indeed that took place, this breakdown took place on the 6th on Saturday, then obviously we have some question marks that was left unanswered. Secondly, thirdly or whatever, the employee identified that Kiely was or seemingly recovering from maybe a hangover. At least he indicate, because he says been to several of these situations where he knows or at least has identified several individuals in comparison to what he had observed was possible hangover, or at least very upset, not really easily able to process whatever information she's dealing with at that time. All right, so to follow that up, he also stated that these two, Kiely and the description of Jagger, they were not, let's just say they weren't close. They were always kind of standing far apart, as if there was some sort of maybe disagreement that took place or breakup or whatever, something happened that maybe had an emotional consequence to whatever happened. So that was what led to their AWP's first investigation was in Boca Lake, which they found absolutely nothing. I'm going to zoom back out. They took and completely searched out this entire lake, Boca. So they moved on to the next, which is closer to their home region, or I should say Kiely's home region, which was Donner Lake. Now, this area is quite a bit closer to Kiely's home of residence, and what they ended up doing is they searched all the way, or they searched all over this lake, and they found that there's a quick drop off too on the boat launch ramp of this lake. It was completely clear. And they couldn't find anything with their equipment. So they cleared this lake. Then they started the following day. Now, this all happened on Saturday as far as their investigation in this area, both Boca and, of course, Donner Lake. Now, they reconvened back up to the point of origin, which was the campground of where Kiely and supposed hundreds of people were located. So the campground they were staying at was actually right, not in the original spot right here, where some people had thought, like on I guess it was site number 4, but it was actually over here, right there, in this area. And the reason for that is because there was a lot of activity going on that they didn't want to get caught on. So the interesting part to this is this area is very close to this area right here in the lake. And I'll kind of go on here explaining why that's interesting. Going back to AWP, when they first entered this lake, they received an interesting tip. They received messages from a couple individuals stating that there was a reported behavior from the party, stating it was getting out of hand. There was some fighting and drugs involved, and there was disturbing behavior between friends of Kiely, and then it was censored out. Now, my facial, I understand facial, I know how to read people very well, but the movement of facial, not to mention my wonderful wife, Gina, love you, girl, she knows sign language, so therefore a lot of individuals in this community knows how to lip read very well, and that includes facial movements as well. So again, speculation warning. It looked like I think the guy's name's David, with the long beard, stated that there was a very interesting conversation between, or I should say, disturbing behavior that was reported between the friends of Kiely and what seemed like, he said, Sammy. So now take that with a grain of salt, again, because that's speculation, but that looked like he was expressing 2 syllables when he spoke the name. And he went with like this, so it's always, when you get into a smile motion, there's always going to be kind of like an E-I, sound. So again, keep that speculation in heart, because that may not be entirely true, but it does seem like the person in question was Sammy regarding that tip. Also states that the party broke up abruptly because something had happened that was very bad. And there is a lot of more sinister story to this, according to this tip, because these people had left quickly with all of their vehicles. On top of this, there is, through the tips that AWC received, again, speculation, that this party was supposed to be kept under the wraps by these parents. These parents of the kids did not want them talking. And they said specifically, do not get involved with this case. Another thing I want to point out, and because we have a huge heart, I don't want to get into investigative theology as far as argumentative and anything negative. So I'm not going to throw anybody's names under the bus at this point. So what I'm going to kind of follow up with on this is Kiely Rodni was age of 16, graduated with honors at age 16. Okay, so brilliant young kid. According to many reports, she had a heart of gold, very nice person, and this is hard to fathom somebody would do this to a 16-year-old, let alone speculative. Many people putting this under the wraps, which really concerns me, because that means something happened, and it leads me to, through my history, I went to school too for forensics. On a side class, because I love this stuff, but that's not the primary agenda of this channel. Leads me to 2 things. Now, I want to point out real quick. Let me get my other photos here. So this is the vehicle. I took clips, so I legally can at least do that. But obviously, they confirmed that this is Kiely's car, the Honda, and obviously you'll notice the Ram sticker that they were mentioning under the window wiper on the rear. That's a visual confirmation of the description of the vehicle. So we know that's her vehicle. Another thing is the driver's side passenger, back rear side passenger seat, I should say. Rephrase, sorry. Driver's side rear window was halfway down in this vehicle. Let me switch the other screen. It'll be easier to see. Here we go. So this is a picture of the driver's side and the rear of the rear door of the driver's side. That window was half down as this car was going into the lake. The other photo I want to point out here is the passenger front side of the vehicle was completely broken out. Now, what's interesting about this, and I'm not, again, forensic side of this, you have a human remains in the rear side of the vehicle, but you have a passenger window that was broken out. And on top of that, you have a driver's side back window that's halfway down. So at the time the car went into the lake, there's absolutely an opportunity for a survivor to swim out of the vehicle. So that leaves some questions. What happened at this point for Kiely to not be able to escape? So there's, I mean, again, we're going speculative here for a moment. You have two possibilities that are running through my mind. Either A, she was already done before this car came to the water, which means somebody had to drive the vehicle into the water, maybe prematurely had broken the window so they can escape, or at least find a way to get out. All right, on top of that, weird ringing in my ear. Yeah, so on top of that, we have a... Sorry, guys, I have some sort of weird ringing in my ear. I don't know where it's coming from. But anyway, so the option number 2 is Kiely didn't want to escape the vehicle. There is the possibility of her not wanting to escape the vehicle. I think that's a sad ending if that's the case. So those are really the only two things: foul play or self-induced. That's it. You have a point of escape. So I'm going to go ahead and bring open a couple of individuals here to discuss this. Again, I don't have a lot of time, so sorry if I can't get everybody included on live calls. Thanks. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on our caller. I'm getting a lot of information coming right now at me, so bear with me, guys. All right, so Temp, are you with me?
I am. Hello.
Fantastic. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the Gauche.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and start with your feedback. What you got for us?
So you brought some of the points that I wanted to make, which is a good thing, because I do have something to build on it. Sorry, I'm just muting your YouTube to catch up on what you said just a minute before we got here. So yeah, about the windows. You said at the end that it's like two choices, right? Was it foul play or what was the second?
So foul play or self-induced.
Okay.
Really.
So on that, I would say it's still. I mean, you got good instincts, bro, but I don't think there is another option. It's just unlikely.
Okay.
I do want to comment that most of the internet, when they watched that clip, I don't know if you showed it or maybe it's copyrighted.
I think it's copyrighted.
On Twitter, probably. There's the diver of AWP who finds the car, and he comes up and he said something is very suspicious because she's in the back seat, and as you said, the driver window is fully open, the back one is half open. So there is a few things about submerged cars when that accident happens. It's a whole thing. I do suggest people who drive cars all go and watch what to do if you ever get caught in that situation. There's a lot of procedure. There's a lot of things to understand that it's not easy to understand.
AWP released a video on this, right?
I do not know, but I've seen that long ago when I took my driving.
Right. Yeah, they teach that too in some driving schools. But I do remember AWP does have a video out on the how the car flips over almost in every situation because the tires act as a buoy, and the car literally will always flip upside down when the car goes into the lake. So therefore, you have, and they said specifically, I think it was from 15 to 30 seconds to escape the vehicle once upon entry. Is that right?
Not exact. So it's a whole thing. When I drove with my driving instructor was completely accidentally also an extreme driver teacher, extreme driving teacher. So, he taught me, like, we went to situations where the car is about to flip on purpose. Like, you drive a car, you lock the brakes and things like that, and how to control the car to maneuver what you're supposed to do. Don't try it at home. Do not do it alone. I was with a very experienced instructor, and he has control of the wheel and brakes as well while I'm with him. But for submerged cars, because I know you don't have a lot of time.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, important thing. So on that video, most of the internet is commenting about, okay, what is suspicious? There's many people that are found in the back seat. You're missing the point. It's not that she was in the back seat that is suspicious. It's all what he said together. One, that she was in the back seat. The front window was open. You just showed me it was broken, which even means more. But still not conclusive. And the back window was half open, right?
Mm-hmm.
The point he was making is that there is a lot of sus here. That's why he said call the authorities. Right. Because if you, let's say she was with a seatbelt, she was strapped, she got in the river, car flipped, let's say the windows are open when it happened. Then because she was in the back seat, it means she released herself from the seatbelt, swam to the back of the car, or climbed there while the water were coming in. Sorry about the graphic description, but fortunately that's
okay. Yeah, we gave the warning up ahead of time.
So she was there probably with the intent to breathe, and she did the windows were open, meaning the water comes in quicker,
right?
But she still have time to take a breath when she unhook herself and go to the back seat. So in that scenario, when you go into that scenario and the windows are open, it's actually could be more dangerous. What happens is the water flood into the car, and it's extreme. Your body gets struck with the water. If the water are cold, a lot of swimmers will tell you that you get a shock. Your body gets a shock, and it's hard to breathe just because the waters are cold. You're like, I'm sure if anyone got a bucket of ice water spilled on you, you know what I mean. So you actually want to get in the water. You want your body to adjust. Even though the water are filling quickly, you do want to get in the water, but with your head out, so you can have your body adjust while the waters are coming in. Do not try to swim against the water pouring in. The pressure is huge. It's immense. And you actually need to stay in the car and, almost to the last possible moment when you can take a big breath. And then you take a big breath. And once the water gets in the car and the pressure on the outside and the inside equalize, you just swim out the window to your freedom. It's easy to say, hard to stay composed. But that is what you should do if the windows are open. Now, most of the times, the windows are not open. They are closed. In that case, the water will still fill the car, but much slower. Your chances at being able to open the door or the window are nearly zero, unless you are, one of the strongest people on earth, because the pressure from the water outside into the car is so huge. It's impossible, basically. You can break it, maybe, but as I said, it's not going to get your situation necessarily better. You got to do it with smarts to it, You break it, but you don't stand in front of it. And then you get yourself acclimated. And then at the end, the goal is to escape through the window. Otherwise, another option is to wait for the water to fill the car, even when everything is closed.
Overwhelmingly.
Because then the pressure equalize, and then you can just open the door. It's just like walking in the water. How walking in the water is easier in a way. Opening the door when the pressure is balanced is just mechanical, simple movement. There won't be any resistance.
Right.
Once
that makes
it
perfect
equalizes.
sense.
But the thing is, because the water are getting in slower, because everything is closed, they're not going through an open window. You need to hold your breath for a bit longer until the pressure equalizes. Like from the moment you take your last breath until the water fills and the pressure equalizes, it's a longer span of time. So Okay, that's just in general on submerged cars. So if you were her in that situation and you were conscious when it happened and you release yourself from the belt and you went to the back seat and the window is open, all you have to do is wait, take a deep breath, and then swim out the window. Okay? So if it was an accident and she was conscious when it happened, and when she hit the water, she was able to consciously move to the back seat, yeah, everything, like, it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
The thing is, then what's left is she was unconscious while the water were filling the car. She was unconscious. That's the only thing that will make sense. The question is, what made her unconscious? Was she unconscious or unalive before the car hit the water even, or was it caused because the car hit the water?
So that's a great question, because that's kind of going into the whole why I said two things. Because really, the first thing where I said, or it could be suspect, is many things could fall into that category, with that being including one of them. What she could have been either unconscious, either by somebody else's doing, or already unalived, or she could have been already unconscious or unalived on her own will, and somebody else said, okay, this is a bad event, which I kind of suspect, and then send the car and hide it because they don't want to get in trouble. So she could have again, suspect. We don't know the results of the autopsy as far as a toxicology report yet. So let's say hypothetically she was induced with some sort of drug that could have been overdosed in her system, causing her to become unalived, let's say, hypothetically. And then, okay, everybody doesn't want to get in trouble because of the nature of the drugs that they were using. And then, therefore, somebody got behind the wheel and said, well, let's just go ahead and get rid of this situation, hide it, and then run away. Therefore, going into the whole odd situation of parents not wanting to report this.
But here you got another question. Was she, at that point, unalive, or was she unconscious?
That's a great
question. There's a big difference, because if she's unconscious, then in the it's not even toxicology report, in the pathology report, there will be water in her lungs, because unconscious, you're still breathing. Okay,
that's true.
And if you're breathing, your lungs filled with water. You're unconscious, but you're still filling your lungs with water, and it will be shown in a pathology report. If you are unalive, then this will be a clear shot case. If they don't find water in her lungs, I mean, they will find it, but they won't find it as if someone inhaled the water.
Correct. I was gonna say.
And if they don't find it, I mean, it's a done deal. It means she was gone before the car hit the water. It's totally there's malice here. There's, foul play. 100%, no doubt. If there is, then you don't know, because it could be when the car hit the water. Maybe, I mean, you said the front window was broken. I did not know that. But that points to where did it break? If it broke before she hit the water, that police department should be scouring the entire area to find glass shards.
So AWP stated the passenger front window was broken out. The nature of whether that was as the car was going in or before. So if it was broken out, even if it was broken out, they need to find the pieces of the window in the area. If they're not finding, because if it was broken outside of the water, there will be shard like in the area of the beach. If it was broken during the car going into water, there will be shards somewhere. It's okay. It's more likely, let's say, if she hit a tree, or who knows, and then that was just a cover up, you'll find it outside. Again, it's tough to know, but the thing is, if she broke the window while she was in the car, and she stood in front of that window, that's exactly what I was saying.
that's life endangering. The pressure is so high, those glass shards are flying straight at her. That's why I said you do not do that. You wait for the pressure to balance, and then you open the door. You don't even try to break the window, because it's hard to break things underwater. But if you break it while there is air in the car from the inside, just imagine that. Imagine like tons of pressure just waiting to get into your car. It's like what you see in movies on a plane. Things do not get sucked in because it's opposite of the plane. The plane has positive pressure. Outside it's negative. In the car, it's, the water want to come in. As soon as you break that window, you have shards of glass flying at you with ton of water pressure. It's like a hose, basically a firefighter hose, You do not want that hitting you. And she could have got injured by that. And so there's so many cases here that could say, it's not either foul play or self-inflicted. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe she just didn't know how to deal in a situation like that. Something I believe.
We hope at least.
People
well, it's kind of sad, and it's really kind of, either way you look at this, is going to be a sad ending. It's tragic. So I 100% agree. So AWP did, and I kind of want to watch this with you if you're okay with it. AWP has a little bit of an insight on.
I just want to comment if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Mel said, car glass is designed to break into small pieces, not shards. You are right, Mel.
That is correct.
That's my language. That's my language when I say shards. I mean like pieces of glass. It's for me, pieces of glass are shards. It doesn't matter. I mean, if I take glass and I grind it and I put it in your glass of water and you drink it,
that would be bad.
That's bad. Yes. It doesn't matter the size when you're talking about inhaling or flying in your face.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
You don't want to inhale that. It would very much be a problem.
Yes.
Let me go ahead and play this video on the other end. I'd like to go ahead and then converse about this as well. This is what they said on their version of what safety is. I think everything you said, Tim, makes perfect logical sense. So I'm just kind of curious to see what they have to say too, for our own knowledge, right? Because I don't know everything. If you're okay with that.
Yeah, of course.
All right,
yeah.
let's go ahead and do it.
They're semi-buoyant, but the wheels are rolling them and maintaining the control of what little buoyancy they have, and then they're dropping from the overwhelming weight, obviously.
I'm making this video in hopes that this can save at least one of my viewers' life. My name is Josh Cantu. I work as a videographer with Adventure with Purpose, and our job is to find people who are underwater in their vehicles. Now, as a husband and father, I am passionate about this video because most people think they know how to get out of a vehicle when it's in the water, but they are wrong. What we know is completely wrong.
Reaction time and speed are key for survival. A sinking car will not immediately submerge, which means there's a small window of opportunity to act.
So you may wonder, why is it so difficult if you drive into the water to get out of your vehicle? It is almost impossible to break this window without a proper tool, and this video is going to teach you what you need to do, what tool you need to get.
An estimated 400 people die each year because their cars are trapped in water, and it turns out many of us are doing exactly the wrong thing in that moment. We roll up the windows and hope for an air bubble or call 911.
What you're about to hear are actual 911 calls from people in sinking cars.
Help me! I got fire department going. I don't know what to do. The car is sinking. It's to my right. It's up to my right. It's going down fast. I can't get out.
I'm not making this video to sell you one of these. I'm making this video because I have seen things on this channel. I have seen things being a part of this team. It is very, very sad seeing somebody that tried to get out of their vehicle who was unsuccessful. It is very, very sad seeing all these accidents that possibly could have ended a lot differently if they had this knowledge. This isn't an infomercial. This is me saying I care about you and I want you to be able to give yourself the tools and the chance to survive crashing into the water.
A new warning. Every year, an average of 300 people drown in their cars, and authorities are now offering a different piece of advice.
We tested underwater car a few years ago. Episode got a lot of great response, specifically because I didn't realize this, that is a lot of people's greatest phobia, is being in a car when it goes underwater.
Don't try to open the door. Water pressure makes this extremely difficult to do. Right. And even if you could open the door, this would allow for even more water to come in.
Oh my God, it's coming up under the windshield. Wow, I can feel the pressure. All right, I only have a couple more breaths here.
After we aired that episode, we got a lot of new information about the fact that most cars, when they go in the water, they don't go in and then just sink. They actually go in and do what's called turning turtle. They go upside down. And that episode is the scariest thing that's ever happened to me on the show.
The plan works to perfection as the car pitches nose first and then settles roof side down.
I'm gonna try and open it with my might. Ah! No. Okay. Stay calm. I did not expect it. Let me see if I can open this door. Ah, no. Okay. There's a lot to get caught up in this car, and my visibility's about to disappear. Here we go.
The car suddenly drops like a stone. It flips yet again, so it's back upside down. Remember that Adam's not wearing a dive mask, so his vision is even more blurred than this.
Oh! I absolutely had to partake of the onboard air supply. The car's turned over again. All right. My air pocket was changing constantly. And when it finally started to lurch and go under at the end, it went really, really, really fast. I had about 10, 15 seconds of warning. You're in this super confined space. You cannot see anything. You lose all your bearings. I mean, I couldn't find the handles on the doors.
But Adam only got out with the help of canned air. So the myth that it's next to impossible to escape when the car turns turtle is confirmed.
But this isn't an accident. We're learning how to survive an emergency from the Indiana State Police.
Here's the headline you must remember. You have to get out of the car before it sinks. That means you likely have under a minute to get out. Speed is the key to saving your life.
The old way of thinking was that the only way to survive was letting the car fill with water before opening the door. Not anymore.
Unless you want that to be your final resting place. You get out while the car is on the surface.
The first 30 to 60 seconds is when you have to get out of that vehicle.
That's leading researcher Gordon Giesbrecht, who says it's too late to try to push a door open when the car's underwater. So this Florida dive team shows what can be done.
Okay, guys, ready to go.
Let's start the clock in real time. A second after hitting the water, seatbelts off, then windows down. Within 8 seconds, both front seat passengers are out. Water now rushing in the back seat. Passengers scramble. In some cars like this one, rear windows won't roll down all the way. The escape is out the front. Everyone is safe, all in under 20 seconds.
Everybody's clear. It was very intimidating. The car went down quicker than I thought it would. I had a real inflow of water that I had to work against to get out, but it can be done.
Point is, everybody knew what they were supposed to do. Get your seatbelt off, open the window, period, and then get out.
It's simple, but crucial.
Quickly roll down your side window, unbuckle yourself, and climb out. If you were too slow to react, the water pressure could pin your doors and windows shut. That means you'll have to break a window. Don't try the car's front windshield, as it's built to resist impacts.
So go ahead and get yourself out through the windshield.
Oh my goodness!
And what if you were upside down in the water right now?
It's devastating seeing how hard this is. Because, like we all know,
I'm not crawling through this window.
Seconds matter in these situations. I mean, you can clearly see. I mean, if you have to do this, obviously, survival by all means. But this is
gonna get you into trouble. Go for the tempered glass.
When you're ready to attempt an escape, look for anything you can use as a hammer. If it's heavy and hard, chances are it could work. Next, aim for the upper right corner of the window. This is most often a window's weakest point.
A few months back, Jared, Doug, and I made a video at a junkyard demonstrating how to break a window. I brought my own knife thinking I already had the tool that would work to break one of these windows. And what I learned that day was absolutely shocking.
Okay, so I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of advice as well. To properly break a window, it is best to actually pick a corner. Will actually break easier rather than the middle. But it's your tool that doesn't seem to work yet.
If I didn't know the information,
I'm going to pause it right here for a second. Their tool that they're referring to actually cuts the seatbelt as well as pops the window and breaks it. It has a little bit of, it has a spring-loaded heavy metal mechanism that actually will pop the window. I want to skip through some of this, but they're indicating the window will break a lot easier with this tool. And they indicate this to do this, from my recollection, before the car goes into the water. I'm going to go ahead and skip to that point.
So, we've been spinning a bad accident. The best thing to do right now is to not whatsoever panic. The first thing I know I have my tool on my keychain. I have to access it. I'm gonna quickly pull it off.
So I wanted to talk about one more thing, and that is a key fob or a keyless entry. Now, most keychains, like myself, the key goes in the ignition. So when you need your tool, it is right there for you to grab it, pull it off the little tab, and boom, you're ready to use it. Pop in windows instantly. If this was in the cup holder or, you know, your wife's purse and the vehicle flipped upside down, it's gonna go flying. And you have no access to it. You're going to be searching for it, and these are crucial seconds that you need. We're going to take away the keychain from the key fob. I'm going to take a zip tie, and I'm going to choose a spot in the vehicle where this is going to be permanent. For my wife, I'm going to put hers right here on her rearview mirror. Zip tied in place. That way, in an emergency, boom, pull this, ready to go.
I'm gonna use this seatbelt cutter very quick. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna bust this window. Get out of this vehicle and get away immediately in case it's on fire. Great, great.
You did great. That was only that was less than 60 seconds. You were out.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a link in the description below over to adventurewithpurpose.com website and get yourself one today. It comes in different colors. This is Josh Cantu. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video helps.
Okay, so kind of coming back out of that here. What did you think, Sam?
Just gotta tell you, there's because we're on Zoom, if you don't share the window, I need to see it on YouTube. And
oh, you're 15. My bad, dude. All right,
so I always have to wait 15 minutes to comment on everything as it is.
Right.
But it's okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
I'm learning with a purpose.
It's okay. It's okay, dude. I've been there. Okay. Now I'm with you.
All right.
Yeah. You can also minimize that length. I'll show you later. Anyway, so first of all, egg on my face. Sorry, everyone. I guess my knowledge was not updated, not up to date.
Mine too.
Yep. I will say, it's good that they say, totally agree with them. They're the experts, not me. Don't listen to me. Listen to them. But they do say you need to get out of it 20-30 seconds. All of them were very young, fit, capable men that were escaping that car. I don't know how well more full of years and healthy people will react in 20-30 seconds when they're not young, fit, capable men who are trained and expecting for that to happen.
Right.
That's a big deal. 20 to 30 seconds if you are not prepared for it, if it's an actual accident that you flip into the water, will you actually be able to be composed, sharp enough to find whatever it is you cut your seatbelt with, and, you know, open the window? I mean, what if there's short circuit and you can't open it fully because of the water? I don't know.
You make a good point.
Then what? You need to close the window. I mean, what do you do?
I'm guessing
just
they
saying, yeah,
go right to that window breaker thing.
I respect what they're trying to do in bringing awareness.
Yeah.
And telling people, be prepared, be aware, be ready for that scenario, and get out of there in 20-30 seconds, because that's your best chance at surviving. I would not even disagree with that. I'll be 100% agreeing with that. But to tell people to be ready for it, it's kind of it's a big
different
ask.
when you're in the moment, right? So if that actually happens, like, you know, you're not really thinking, oh, safety. I'm like, oh, I'm in the water.
Yeah.
So
I'm in the water. What else is
tough.
going on? Where is that thing that's supposed to cut my seatbelt? And you have to do it and open the window. And you know how electric window works. It's like zzz, and they're like, you got 20 seconds. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I would assume that actually most of the people will get stuck in the car while it's submerged. Meaning you'll either be halfway when you'll try to do what they do, and that could actually backfire. Like they said, if your window is open and you are stuck in your seatbelt and the water are pouring in, you're in a heap of trouble, because there's like this huge pressure coming at your face, and you need to unbuckle your seatbelt and get away from there. It's dangerous, but yeah, I didn't think about the fact that your air bubble, because I did watch that Mythbusters episode, and I saw him getting caught and totally panicking. But I didn't think about, the fact your air bubble moves, and then you can get disoriented. And as they said, once you're in submerged water, I mean, things could go really bad. But unfortunately, I think that's what will happen to most of us, unless we are like, I don't know, a week from today. We're still aware, but 5 years from now, when we all don't remember that case, what are you gonna do? I mean, will you be prepared? No, you get complacent, right? I mean,
as we humans always do, we always move on to the next story, or whatever it is that's
when you
interesting
start
into our
driving.
lives
You're like all the mirrors, you look everywhere, like you're so on it. It's like it's work. Today, you just drive from point A to point B. It's like automatic. It's not like you are,
Yeah, you don't have a GPS or anything to tell you exactly step by step how to escape a vehicle in water.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And even if you have, you need to like, what'd you say? What'd you say? It's like you need to keep your composure. You need to understand the instructions. You need to remember your training. It's basically, okay, guys, you are a rescue company. I get you wanting to teach people how to escape a submerged vehicle. I respect that tons. But reality is that most people will not get out of that vehicle in 20 seconds. They won't unbuckle their seat, open the window,
That's a lot to
and
ask.
get out of it in 20 seconds. And if you're heavy, if you got some pounds on you, escaping through a window,
or handicapped, or in a situation where you're not really as mobile as Jen said in the comments. So you have that situation. So you need, if that's you and you think you drive around lakes and stuff that may be a risk factor, maybe think ahead of the possibility of you could get into an accident that could have, God forbid.
I mean, if you're in that situation and you drive
do?
a lot near lakes or whatever,
it's
like it's a routine. At that point, my recommendation is have a oxygen, like he had, like an air.
There you go, something like that.
I mean, that will help you. You could just sit in the water. You'll be chill. You'll be like, okay, I got my mask. I got air. Now I'm just waiting, right? It can flip, it can do whatever it wants. You don't need to swim for your air bubble. Heck, you could stay in your seat, I guess, you know? Just strap on your oxygen mask, just like you do in an airplane. That's why they tell you to do that in airplane, because it actually prevents panic. Oxygen
breathing
prevents.
key.
That's why you have the. It's not only the breathing.
When you can breathe.
In the airplane, the oxygen mask, the masks that fall and you're supposed to put on your face, it prevents panic. It's the oxygen itself.
Oh, that's interesting.
Prevent panics. I mean, the oxygen is not going to help you if your airplane hits the water. Let's.
Right.
The oxygen
there's a whole different situation there.
The oxygen that comes in planes is to keep everyone calm and complacent, because that is your best chance of survival. Because if that plane does hit the water, but you're composed, you can somehow escape, you can listen to instructions, you don't lose your mind. That's why when people hyperventilate, they put this airbag in front of them, right?
Yeah.
So that's key. If you know you're in that situation a lot, have a whatever it's called, like a diver tank. I don't know, air tank in your car.
Right.
I guess I don't know. Maybe I give bad advice, so don't trust me. Just trust the
Of course, this is speculative advice, but it may be good advice. Who knows?
Just thinking out loud. Yeah.
That's totally okay. I was kind of curious on the comments out there. I did see Mel had a feedback there regarding, it looks like the roadside assistance employee. I'm not sure if it looks like she had left. So Mel, sorry if I didn't get to you. But yeah, y'all make some good points here. A good point on the electric windows versus the manuals, like we had discussed there. Not all the time that's going to work out to our favor, especially if you're shorted out underwater. That's not going to work. And I'm taking a look. I'm trying to include as much as I can here before we conclude, because I do want to make sure the community gets involved as much as possible.
Of course. We love you people. Thank you.
Yes, we wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you guys. Thank every one of you for joining in and of course helping out the community. We really appreciate it. So yes, and of course there's what information we presented as far as what AWP had found and what they have of course told us through their video about the passenger front side window being smashed out, and of course the driver's side's rear window being halfway down. So again, all speculative. I'll leave it up to you guys on what you think, but we do want to make sure we're being mindful to the family, Kiely's family, and I mean, we don't want to push out there all of the stuff and not at least recognize that this is a very unfortunate ending for a very intelligent young woman.
If I may.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to say, because I hear a lot of people are criticizing AWP for that little video when he goes out and he looks a bit in shock, and then he says, there's I think foul play, call the authorities, and they're like he's acting, like he's like, oh my god, there's foul, like in CSI when he takes off the glasses, right?
Yeah.
Guys, he's not acting. The shock that you see is not the shock because the window is broken and the other round he's half and she's in the back seat, and then he's thinking, oh, there's a whole conspiracy, that's why I'm shocked. He is shocked because she was there for 3 weeks in water and the window was open. There's some things, it doesn't matter how many times you'll see them. No, it just what he saw. That's a
great point, because let's put it to you this real quick. I just want to make a quick point. Like I have somebody I know that's my brother from Tennessee, who's a lieutenant police officer who sees, unfortunately, these things happen in like vehicle accidents and domestic situations that end badly. I don't want to keep going on, but these people have done this for a long time, and they see cases where all of these individuals, human remains, are found in these vehicles. So that is a shock to the system and the mind to have to process this. So absolutely, how do you act emotionally and morally responsibly when you're in this situation, it's very hard to process.
He was in shock.
Absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't be in shock, man?
And I did speak about that, I think, on Lois. I'm not even sure where I spoke about that, but
right.
If the windows were closed, it wouldn't be as horrible. But when something is submerged for a long period of time and there is access to it, to currents, to sea life, it gets, it isn't preserved as well. Okay?
Right.
He saw that. That's, it's hard to think. It's not like finding, an ancient skeleton and you see a skeleton and you saw skeletons in your life. It's a skeleton. Yeah, it's horrifying, but it's a skeleton. You saw it in biology class, right? It's different. It's so different.
Right.
And he saw it in his eyes. So it's
he did.
I feel so bad for him. I saw it in his eye.
He mentioned too that he has a 16-year-old daughter himself.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. That's what I was.
It was hard for him to process. That's shock. You're right. You're right, Tim.
That poor guy. I mean, I was almost crying just watching him trying to process it. You can see it in his eyes. He's not acting. It's not about the suspicion and foul play, guys. It's about the human aspect here. That's why he can talk. That's why he's in shock.
I'll be honest too. When I first watched this video, I had to watch it 2 times. And it took me a minute to process this. I mean, like watching Britney Spears over the weekend. That was the first time I watched it with everybody. So this time I wanted to be a little more cautious because your emotions get a little bit on the thick of things, and you want to be able to be morally responsible when you tell this information to people. So it took me a moment to kind of comprehend everything that took place here, and emotionally, I was a wreck there for about an hour just trying to process this. So, man. Shock value, for one, is incredible.
I mean, this case is so complex. There's so much about that.
Right. So we'll go ahead and wrap things up here, Tim. But guys in the chat, look, if I didn't get to your comments or don't see your comments, just know that I'm not ignoring you. I see every single one of you beautiful people out there. So just remember that. I respect everybody and your individuality as well. So I'll go ahead and kind of close things off with Tim. If you want to go ahead and talk about your channel as well.
Oh yeah, friend. I'll just drop the link. This is. I mean, you can get to me through Zaiden's. I mean, go through Zaiden's. Why not? I mean. See his links too. I'm over there at the bottom. There's like a temp page. Go there. You'll see everything in my links too. But first, look at his. I do want to say I'm sorry if I a bit talked over or too much. For
this was passionate discussion. We did understandable.
Yeah. We love you. We love everyone that's watching. I say to Zaiden, you're a brother to me, and for me, we're the same community.
Likewise,
we love you all. You're the same people. We know you. We love you. We're so happy to have your support and your engagement with us and all the things you give to us, even on air. Your knowledge is so valuable. Thank you. Thank you all. I really appreciate that.
Thank you,
And
Tim.
I am wrong. When I'm wrong, I'll say that. Yeah. Don't think I'm not.
Amen, man. We're usually humbled quite often in our lifetime. So
many times.
Praise you, man. Praise you. Thank you so much for your feedback today, bud. We'll
thank you.
This Saturday, you going live at about 3:00ish or Eastern?
Something 2, 3, something like that.
After Zaiden. Talk to me, guys. I'll help out. I'll make sure that we get everything in motion here. But all right, so I'll go ahead and close things out. Thanks, Tim, for joining. Everybody, thank you for joining along.
Excellent.
Appreciate you just hanging in there with the gut punching stuff, and of course I'm playing the excellent music.
Excellent.
Sorry, this wasn't exactly an excellent outcome, but excellent for you guys for just kind of being supportive with us, massively being supportive in this community. So thank you for that. I do appreciate everybody in here. So if you like what you seen, you'd like to see more of our content going forward, please hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. That does help the channel grow. The whole algorithm thing, obviously, you know. But on that note, until the next time, everybody, Friday Midnight Madness, remember, every one of you will be included for some more fun there. So thank you. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Zaiden out.